Hello, friends. Uncle Marv here with another episode of the Unhealthy Podcast, the show where we actually try to live healthy and be happy by eliminating or reducing all the unhealthy things in our life. And that's not just about diet and exercise, folks. It's about a bunch of different areas: mind, body, soul. And today we are going to revisit the process that we have been working through with Coach Elle. We were in week 6 of Calling in the One. Coach, how are you?
Good, great. Thank you, Marv. Thank you for putting all these episodes and, doing the podcast. It's a lot of work, I know, on your side, and I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for the kind words, but it's a journey. And that's kind of the way I started this was, of course, to be healthier myself, but to do it in a shared way with other people and hear the good things that other people are doing and maybe find something that rubs off on me.
I'm sure you have learned or know more than you have started. I don't know how many episodes ago, not just me, but other people that you have been on your podcast.
Yep, it has been fantastic. And what you have been doing here, and I know that there's so much more to what you're doing, but Calling in the One and helping people understand relationships, helping people to understand, first of all, accepting and loving themselves is something that it's hard for people to do sometimes. So this is a great thing that you're doing, and I will encourage you to keep on doing it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So to kind of recap where we were, because it's been a minute, we had last finished week 5 of Calling in the One, which was first things first. And we had worked through all the heavy stuff before that, but it was finally a time where we could, identify, the feelings and needs that we wanted in a empowered relationship and kind of identifying the commitments we were willing to engage with. So just before we get into week 6, what would you like to kind of go back and remind people from week 5?
Right. So, this past few weeks that we worked together with the clients, it's just understanding deeply of who they are and that self-love that has been missing, to bring it back, to really go deep every time that there is an interaction or there is something that they want to do. Ask themselves if that's something that really sits well in their with their heart to do it in that interaction. If they're answering a question or even self-love, self-care, it's very connected to self-love. And I don't remember if we talked about how putting alarms on your phone and every 2 hours or twice a day or something like that to see I sit mostly all day long, so a lot of people work from home. If that's something that they need to go just walk around, come back, get some coffee or tea or anything that will kind of gives them that energy to come back and taking care of themselves, not just being in that space of just giving out all day long, but really kind of ask themselves, be conscious to see if they're taking care of themselves throughout the day as well.
We did talk about that, and I remember specifically the fact that you want to put those timers in as a way to pull ourselves out of the daily grind because we're so busy, work, that we just need to take time and, whether it's a break, every couple of hours just to step away, step outside, breathe fresh air. We need that.
Yeah, exactly. So this week 6, it's knowing that you have been in that space of getting to love yourself deeply, taking care of yourself, and now looking at the interactions that you have with other people. if you're in that space of talking to them in a way that is it's loving, that's coming from that part of you that is connected to who you are and that values who you are, and then you're valuing that interaction that you have with other people. And those interactions from the past that was negative, it doesn't have anything to do with you today as you're going and interacting with even the same people, because now you understand where you're coming from and you're going deeper and understanding where they're coming from. And the interactions are going to be more loving and more understanding. And if you don't want to talk at that moment or interact, then you give yourself that space and time and that you can go and reflect and come back. So it's all about just how you have been comparing or working with other people and yourself in the past, and how you're changing it as you understand who you are and what your needs are.
So week 6 is titled A Life Worth Living. And it seems as though this is kind of the turning point where we've done all of our self-discovery. And yes, now it's time to be able to communicate what we've learned about ourselves and what we want to other people. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's where you have improved your communication skills, and it's based on knowing your value and what your needs are. So it would be easier, more loving when you're communicating the needs. How do you want to connect with those relationships that you had from the past, or the new relationship that comes to your life, that you're bringing to your life, how you want to interact, and from the space of that authentic self that you cultivated this past 5 weeks. And now you really embody who you are.
Embody who you are. Part of me thinks that there is a sense of joy getting to this point because, you've learned who you are, you've accepted it, but it's more of now being happy with where we are. Okay.
Yes. Because, remember we talked about the forgiveness, and the forgiveness is if anything has happened in the past and you understand it. I mean, I had clients who who come to me and they had those regrets from the past, but then, you didn't know any better at that time. That was the solution, or that the interaction that you did or the other person, it's just that's in the past. And now from today on, of understanding who you are today and forgiving that part of you from the past. So then it will be more of a positive, when you go inside and ask yourself a question, are you happy today? Then you can really, really focus on today, not from yesterday, not from 2 years ago, 10 years ago.
So I want to make sure that we let listeners know that, even though you and I have had these discussions, they can listen to us on the podcast. They can go out and buy the book off of Amazon, but there probably isn't a place where they can go and purchase the ebook and workbook that they can get from you. And I want to share a link that is going to be in the show notes at your hearttoheartcoaching.org website, where they can get a free ebook and workbook, Pathways to Heartful Connections. And it's basically going to do a lot of what we've discussed here, empowered decision-making, cultivating self-confidence, building fulfilling relationships. So something that people can do to embark on their own transformation rather than, just sitting here listening on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's a self-discovery, which this is. It takes time and it needs work. So, and part of it is to be really authentic with yourself and really be truthful to yourself and everything that has happened in the past, or who you have been or who you are today. And it's okay because you didn't know any better at that time in the past. So it's just that forgiving part of yourself that you feel that it wasn't true to who you are today. And those interactions from the past, and understanding the other person's behavior from their own past, because we all have past. We all have the interactions with our parents and the caregivers that kind of mold us to who we are. And that's why it would be beneficial for us to really go deep and understand what has happened, and now what we are choosing to live our life, how we're going to choose today.
All right. One of the things that on your website noted when it comes to week 6, there's, again, a discovery aspect about the beliefs, but there's a point that says choose to take risks and show up in ways that are real and transparent. What are some things that you encourage people to do, or how do people take those risks?
Yes. So it's, I had a client who was I'll give you an example, introvert. So was very hard for her to start the conversation or interact. So I asked her to, when she goes to a grocery shopping or some space that, a party, it would be kind of as a test, walk in with that smile on your face and just tell yourself that you will interact, or just say hello and just few words with new people that you meet. And it makes a big difference because you're doing it from the space of opening yourself up, of just bringing love back to your life by opening and being receptive to making the first step, to saying hello to the other person, and having that smile on your face, that vibration from your body and who you are comes out, because we all are beautiful. We have beautiful souls inside of us. With just the past experiences has made us in a space of having guarded, putting our walls up, but just opening yourself up to see how you feel when you're just starting to interact differently than the past.
So this kind of goes back, I guess, to the original concept of calling in the one, this process of self-discovery and growth. Hopefully by week 6, we've gone through all that growth, because we did the rough spots in weeks 2, 3, and 4. But now is this, I know that we've kind of identified where we want to go and, accepted things, but is this a point where that manifestation can truly happen?
Yes, because now you're going and interacting with people with an open heart. You don't have your walls all the way up to the ceiling. You may have some walls still, but it's not going to be, it's your choice, because you're doing it consciously. In the past, or 6 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, it wasn't about not knowing who you are. Today, you know who you are. You have those walls. Those interactions are in the past has kind of, put you to this space that you are, you have been. But today you you have a choice. You have a choice to interact and be open to the interactions or people that you meet, or anywhere that you go. Today you have a choice. You give yourself that choice, and it's very conscious. So it's believe me, it's going to be totally different.
Okay. All right. And what happens with our expectations at this point?
So as long as you know exactly what you're looking for and what you want and what your values are, then if you meet that special person and if they don't have those qualities or the values that it's dear to your heart, then you just say, thank you, no, because that's not what you want in a relationship. So it becomes very clear who to interact with and who not to. And because it's just exactly what you want for yourself, then it becomes easier because you can have a 5-minute conversation and you can say, okay, I don't know, this part of it I don't like, this part of it I like. So let's see, I may have another conversation, go on another date or not. So you become more aware.
Right. Easier to find that out early as opposed to later. Now, do you find a lot of people that maybe got into a relationship and stayed too long, got married, realized that they probably should have been divorced a long time ago? Is it hard to make that shift when you've spent so many years just accepting where you are and just putting up with it and, I'll never really get what I want? I imagine that this is a point where there may still be some reservation. Yes, I've worked through all the stuff. I've identified those things that happened in the past, but just that hesitation to still get over the hump. Do you find that a lot?
That I also coach people through conscious uncoupling. And yes, I have clients who have been in the relationship, marriage for 20, 30, 10 years, and they're questioning themselves now. If I should stay or if I should leave, or can we make this work? And it's all about the two people in that space to be willing to go deep and understand what has happened and what they want. So people get into relationships not knowing who they are and what they want, and they just look at the surface. And yes, 10 years or 20 years or 30 years from that time, then unless they grow together and do the self-discoveries, on their own, and kind of communicate about that together, then of course that relationship is not gonna last. I tell people, you want a life partner, not someone to spend your time with, because a life partner, that means that you talk about what you want in your life and you know that the other person, those foundation parts are similar, and that's what he wants and that's what she wants, and then it's going to work because you continuously, maybe every year, you will talk about it and say, oh, what do you want to do this year or 2 years from now, 5 years from now? It's the communication part important.
That's funny. We've been talking about, our own self-discovery and being able to express what we want. But I don't remember specifically where, and this may be an exercise in the workbook that we haven't talked about, but I have to imagine that there's some designated time where you have to be able to sit and talk about what each person wants. And it's not just simply early on realizing, okay, that's not what I want, but at least getting to the point of asking, why do you want that? And, identifying whether that's true or not. Is that something that happens during this time frame?
So, I did a video for Instagram, and I talked about the 7 steps of how, when you meet someone,
okay,
it's not just about, okay, I like his eyes, or I like her hair. It's not from the outside, but like there is 7 steps that you have to look at and see if you match. If you talk about where do you want to live, what kind of work, you feel comfortable if you want to change your work, status, if you have to move to another state, if you, financial wise, where you are, where you want to be, how many children do you want to have? There's a lot of details that need to be kind of talked about. And those are the steps to get really going deep. And
yeah, but I feel like those questions everybody expects. Everybody expects to talk about their work and how many kids and listen, people lie about the number of kids they want because they want to, how many do you want? But getting to that deeper, heartfelt place of what you really want out of a relationship. I'm going to have to get that workbook and take a look at it and see.
Listen, Marv, it's all about understanding, first of all, who you are and what you want. It makes it 100 times easier when you are already in that space of knowing who you are, and that the vibration, that energy that you give out, when you're really set and know. You may change your mind 5 years, 2 years from that time, but at that moment that you're looking to find a partner or invite somebody to your life, when you know exactly who you are and what you want, that's a key. So it's just self-discovery part is very important. That's why it takes like 4, 5 sessions to get to a point, because we have to go back, clear out and understand who we have been and where we are and where we want to go. So it's a step-by-step getting to this space and being comfortable with who you are today, based on the past and what you want to manifest for yourself from now on.
All right. Sounds like a plan here. I want to make sure I carve out some time here and let you talk about an upcoming workshop that you're doing. And I want to make sure we get that information out to listeners. So if anybody wants to join, it's coming up on February 15th. So tell us all about that.
Yes. So it's a workshop that we're going to talk about 3 main keys that helps you find or bring that life partner, that loving life partner to your life. When first is self-discovery, self-love, and those limiting beliefs. So in this workshop, I'm going to talk about these 3 and give some information on how, some tools to cultivate these and go deeper and see where you are in that space of self-discovery, self-love, and those limiting beliefs. And then opening yourself up to have that manifest, that loving partnership with your life partner. So it's a 60 or 90 minute workshop. And at the end, I'm going to have question and answers. If any, they can ask any questions at the end.
All right. So just a quick little virtual workshop here. We'll have the link in the show notes. And is it just going to be you, or are you going to have some people with you?
It's going to be like like a podcast I'm doing with you. So, she's going to ask me those questions. I'm going to, it's going to be very interactive. And then, if it's going to be live, so they have, whoever sends us a text about questions, then she can, because sometimes it's hard if I just do it on my own, I cannot read.
Right.
So she's going to help me and, ask questions and interact, and also the questions that comes in from other people. So yeah, it's going to be very interactive.
All right. Sounds exciting. So we'll have the link to that. Again, that's February 15th. And
at 2 p.m. At 2 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay. Great. We'll have that there, and hopefully people can join and get some questions answered. All right. And of course, you can always find Elle over at hearttoheartcoaching.org and check out her services there. Of course, we've been talking about calling in the one, and you mentioned the conscience uncoupling.
Yes.
I don't want to bring that up because I don't want to put in the universe that I'm uncoupling from my wife. So that's not gonna happen. But listen, I know that for some people, that's a thing. And if you're in a relationship that isn't going to work out and you know it, why not make the break and do it in a proper and responsible way?
Yes, exactly. And believe me, Marv, when people come to me and they're interested in conscious and uncoupling, they're kind-hearted people that, a lot of them have children, so they don't want to have that negative, angry separation. So they want that to do it for the kids, for themselves, and do it consciously. So, yeah.
All right. So we may talk about that later, but right now we are, again, finishing up week 6 of Calling in the One, A Life Worth Living. And we'll be back, I believe it's next week from today with week 7, Living Love Fulfilled. And that'll be fantastic.
Yes.
All right, Coach, we'll have all the links in the show notes, and I wish you continued health and happiness, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much, Marv. Same for you, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks for listening, folks, and heading over to unhealthypodcast.com for all the show notes and links to everything we've discussed here. And as we leave, I want to leave you with the phrase that you should know by now: live healthy and be happy.